So expanding off the camera tool, in this lab, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to scale content. And this is one of the easiest things to do in Adobe Animate now, whereas in previous versions when it was Adobe Flash Professional, it was extremely difficult. What you used to have to do is resize everything if you wanted to make it higher quality or lower quality or whatever. You'd have to adjust your stage size and then scale everything using the free transform tool. Usually you would try to do them all at the same time. A lot of times glitches and errors would happen, crashing would happen just because you're making the file so large, and it was a real big pain. Now they've made it so easy to do, and it's so fast that it's almost unbelievable how easy this is. What you want to do when you're working in project files is you always want to work with a reasonable size file. So 1280 by 720 is more than it's a high enough quality, it's a low enough size to work with, it's easier on your computer, it's still an HD setting, so it's 16 by 9 aspect ratio. So it's a good size to work with your project files. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when you scale the content, what you used to have to do is you'd have to select everything, use the free transform tool, expand it, and it was just absolutely atrocious sometimes to work with. Now you can just click this scale content button over here on the side. And let's just say you wanted to make it like 4K settings. I'm just going to do 4000. And watch how awesome that is. It just scales everything in the scene all at the same time throughout every single frame, and it's done, and that's it. And I could go back to my camera tool and start messing around with that if I wanted to, but I'm at 72% zoom. If I go back to 1280 by 720, I don't even have to do that because it's a locked. It scales everything as if you're holding shift when you're using the free transform tool. It's going to keep the correct aspect ratio of everything in the scene. So as awesome as that is, this is probably your easiest lab. I just want to make sure that you're well aware of how to scale all the content in your scene. One thing to keep in mind is when you're working in files, I used to have a lot of students who used to want to create everything super HD. And what happened is their files became very difficult to work with because it would lag the computer because the file size was so large and there was so much information inside their project file that at some point they'd eventually not even be able to open their project file, and they'd have to go to a previous version, and it was extremely difficult to work with. Now, with that being said, you want to work in a lower resolution, and then when you're ready for export, go ahead and export at a higher quality res by just adjusting the scale content. And that's all there is. That's it for this particular lab. Just take a screenshot of it. Use the print screen button on your computer. I just want to see that, and just make this number larger. You can, let's just say 2000. Roughly twice the size, or you can even go 4K or whatever, 4000 resolution. Doesn't make a difference. I just want to see that this number is larger and that you have the scale content checkbox clicked, and just run a print screen. In my case, I hold Alt and press print screen because I have dual monitors and it allows me to only take a screenshot of one monitor. If I were to just press print screen, it would print screen all my monitors. So I use the Alt button. Hold Alt and print screen. Otherwise, if you only have one, just do a print screen. And then from there, just press Control V and paste. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer before I do that. And there is my, if I zoom out, my print screen, my screenshot, if you will. And that's all I'm looking for, is just the screenshot. I'd like to see it either right on your stage when you can upload just the image if you want, or the Swift file, just make sure that you have this included in there just so I can go ahead and see. And make sure that you're at a point, you scale it at large enough so I can see that you have the scale content button checkboxed and the resolution higher, and that's it. So if you have any questions, shoot me a message, and that's about it. That's all there is to this lab. I hope you enjoyed this lab. It's very extremely useful. Remember to always work in smaller size files, and then before you export, change the resolution then. Don't work in super high large res and then change it, or don't work in super high large files, because it's just going to create so much problems in your file later on once the file becomes extremely large. Anyway, that's all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed the lab, and thanks for watching.